So this is how I like to manage my color. I have my cool pile, my warm pile, and this is a big mixing area, so I'm preparing for this part to mix some green because there's a lot of green here, and this is probably some dark colors, some dirty colors, whatever. So I have a little bit of neutral gray here, burnt umber. All right, so we got a little bit neutral gray here, so that's this is Daniel Smith. I did a video on my Mission Gold palette, which I do want to use it, but I'm still having a lot of color here, so I'm not switching just yet, but maybe sometime I will use Mission. Hi Sherry. Yeah, I do my paintings. This is tilted, so the water will flow down naturally. All right, I've been stalling enough. Let me just get started. So I try to mix a little bit more color so I don't have to keep coming back to it. All right, let's just get started. Okay, so all right, just a sky, nothing fancy. Okay, maybe just a little bit more color on top, a little bit more saturated. Yeah, so just grab some more blue, go with it. All right, nice and blue up here, and just paint over the tree. That's fine. Just don't worry about it. And as we come down, I'm gonna add a little bit of warm colors here. Yellow ochre. I'm actually gonna add a touch of orange. Alright, I'm gonna dirty up my Mr. Toasty here. So now as the sky comes down a little bit warmer, and I'm gonna take a smaller brush here. Actually, let me just finish this up actually. Let me get it reach down all the way down to the horizon. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of red. So a little bit of carmine actually. So quite pink as we come down here. It is sunset, alright, so it's a little bit pink at the horizon. Okay, don't be afraid to go just a little bit more intense when you're doing the first wash, because the warm color tend to fade up a little bit more. So while it is still wet, I'm going to give it a little bit of sunset color, just that, that golden cloud that we see in the horizon very quickly. And I'm going to mix some of a kind of darker gray, so little hints of pink here in this pile, and just don't have to do too much, just little hints of some shadow of cloud. I don't intend it to make the cloud really complicated, so okay, but I do need to do it quick. If I do it too slowly, the wash is dry. I don't have that time anymore. Okay, and you need to do it fairly quickly before the wash is dry, and you cannot mix a very wet mixture, otherwise it's just gonna wash off the paint. Not going to be pretty. Alright, okay, here's something that I learned. You like something, don't touch it. Okay, so I'm not gonna touch this. I like it alright, and again, it's a backdrop. I don't want to I don't want to overdo it. Okay, you can see the zoom in. I like the nice color, like some dark cloud, with the kind of golden looking cloud, and then down to the horizon. Bead is still there. I'm going to continue the wash down. So if you look at, I'm not looking at the distant mountains and tree just yet, okay? So if you look at the horizon, the water, you see the reflection of that, so of the sky actually. So I'm going to try to get that reflection in. Okay. So again, a little bit of pink down here, and now let's add a little bit of orange. Okay. I am trying to go as fast as possible without making it too messy. Okay. The boat, I'm just gonna paint over that. I don't want to stress myself with highlights and stuff. Okay. Now, as we come down here, now there's gonna be a ton of reflection of the tree, so I don't need to worry about that too much. But if we come down here, now we start to have some blue. Just relax, get the color in, don't be afraid, okay? Mix a nice consistent paint and just go for it. If you're afraid of your mistake, if you're not confident, you start to dig your way through, you are not doing yourself a favor. You are just going to make the wash less clean, and you certainly don't want to do that. Okay, and yeah, that's the first wash, I think. And we got plenty of wetness here, so I think it might be a good time for me to just give a little bit of a ripple, actually. A little bit of the ripple and disturbancy in the water. I don't want to overdo it though. I think one of the beauty of this picture is that this is almost mirror-like, so I don't want to have too much ripples and puddle, just a little bit. And again, make sure your mixture is nice and dry. Okay, not completely dry, but just kind of moist, damp and stuff. So a little bit here. Okay, now wet on wet with some sort of moist, semi-dry mixture, and you get this nice soft edge shape like this. All right, I think I am, yeah, okay, couple ripples, we're done. Okay, I think this is getting really dry. I'm not going to keep messing with it. Okay, we good? Yeah. How are you guys doing? Sorry, my first wash, I just need to kind of power it through, because if I work too long on my first wash, things are dry. I'm missing that golden period of playing with it wet on wet. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. I miss you guys, and I miss painting with you guys. So let me just get a drink of water. Alright. The painting needs water, so am I. Alright, I'm going to mute the microphone. I'm going to blow this dry, just to speed things up a little bit. Okay, this is pretty much dry. I feel it was the back of my finger, and this is still a little bit damp, but that's fine. I'm not going to work on this part, obviously. This is just sky and cloud, and I'm just gonna leave it as the way it is. I'm not really crazy about that part, but I think in the whole picture this is actually kind of nice. Have a little bit of sun peeking through here. I think it's kind of nice. So let's shift our focus, because right now that dark of the cloud is the only dark you are looking at. Once we put in the tree, the reflection and the red boat, this is going to push back tremendously. So let me hide my dumb face and let's just continue on. Alright, so I'm going to mix a nice big pile of green here. So one of the things I'm starting to notice is that I don't mix enough paint. So I need to come back and remix the paint a lot. And I'm really trying to change that habit. So just to be a little bit more generous with my paint and just mix a little bit more paint so that I don't need to keep coming back and mix more paint. So I'm mixing a green, cobalt turquoise with Hanson yellow deep. So look at that nice green here. Now I want to start with the light part of the tree, so that will be the part where the sun is lit. If you look at the photo there, right, the right side of the tree is quite warm. It's quite warm for the green, so I'm going to mix that green. So I'm actually going to use a bunch of orange, yellow, yellow and orange, and cobalt turquoise. That gives us a really nice and warm green here. Okay, I think that is plenty. Hi, Camille. Alright, so okay, I'm not gonna use a brush that big. I will use something a little bit smaller. Alright, gonna dry my brush a little bit on my sponge. I like to call it Mr. Toasty. It's quite cute. Alright, got it from dollar store. Alright, so let me do a real quick test here. And I am going to see here. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to I almost forgot something. I shouldn't need yeah, I should not do the tree first. I should do the background hill first. I almost forgot. So that would be fast. That would be pretty fast though. So I'm going to mix a still kind of cool green, but a little bit distant, and plus it's kind of a sunset-ish color. So I'm gonna add a little bit of alizarin crimson just to make it a little bit kind of purple-ish, pinkish. I'm going to make it very, very simple. So there we go. Alright, so just that, right? So looking at my reference and just okay, very simple. A little bit of articulation, some trees and stuff. Okay, a little bit of the highlight there will be fun. Yeah, just that. Okay, just the background is really not that important. I'm gonna add a little bit of green to it. Alright, just that, and then very quickly I'm just gonna grab my warm green here and do a quick test. Actually, I actually need a little bit more color, make it just a little bit more intense. Okay, a little bit more yellow. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I can work with that. Alright, so let me zoom out because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna forget to move the camera once I get into this. So here we go. I connect that shape together, whatever, I don't really mind. And okay. Okay, one of the things I need to force myself to do is not to look at all the details and stuff. Just trying to make an interesting shape. Okay, make an interesting shape, tree shape. Dance my brush around. Okay, right now we're just painting the light part of those trees. Okay, there are going to be time where I start to paint some dark the tree, but watercolor from light to dark, right? So this will be a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more green now. Some wet on too wet. Okay, but this is mostly just one value. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time tweaking around my value too much. And a little bit of dry brushing. What I like to do is to use the side of my Kolinsky brush and push up like that. Look at that. Okay, I'm just gonna show you real quick. Side of my brush, push up, and get out this nice dry brushing texture, which is very helpful for like organic stuff, like trees and stuff. Alright, okay. Mix more color. I'm still not mixing enough color. It's a huge pile of green. Okay, so this part is a little bit challenging. I really need to get a nice big coverage here, but okay. Need to make it a little bit wetter, but not too wet. I'm starting to make it too transparent. This is like a secondary value. I definitely need to keep that. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a little bit nervous here. Okay, a little bit of burnt sienna. Okay, so nice bead here. I'm just going to use that bead to continue this, bring this swatch down. A little bit of sparkle is totally fine. Okay, we got our figure here, and so we try to leave a little bit of highlight for him, but don't stress on it too much. Okay, again, keep things simple, as simple as you possibly can. Now you see some white here because that's the sheen here. Okay, if I turn my paper a little bit, like the shine is gone, so it is still quite wet, quite moist. So this is a good time for me to play around with it a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to be a little bit bolder with the color. I'm gonna add some even warmer color here and make that tree actually a little bit taller. Can go off the frame, it's fine, just so that it gets a nice diagonal shape in here. Okay. Again, this should be done rather quickly. Okay, you don't want to keep dabbing it. Alright, so with this, I've add a little bit more cobalt turquoise. I'm gonna add some burnt umber. Now mix an like a darker tree color. So with that base green, we get to kind of shift things around. Okay. And do a little bit of wet on wet work. Okay, a little bit more. Actually, gonna add a little bit of blue in here just to make things a little bit darker. Okay, bunch of wet on wet play here. Okay. Nice and slow, nice and soft. I mean, some of the dry brush we can do later. You can spray a little bit of mist from the outside, add some texture as well as getting a little bit more life into that wash. Okay, I'm gonna slow down a little bit, get a little bit delicate silhouette here. Okay. Okay. Hello, Chrissy. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Alright. Okay. Got a bunch of wet on wet here. And I need to stop at some point before it gets not as fresh anymore. Okay. See, it's a bunch of tree, but you can see that I actually don't use a lot of greens here. Okay. Just because it's tree doesn't mean we use a bunch of green, okay? Especially colors here. There's a lot of warmth in this. Alright, okay, I should stop messing with it. One less stroke here. Okay, there we go. Let me stop messing with it. While we're waiting for this to dry, I think it might be a good time to paint some reflection down. And we'll follow the same process here. So I'm just going to mix a nice warm green here as well, and just going to, okay, some of the areas where I have some reflection of greens. I'm gonna try to watch out for the boat. I don't want a lot of that get covered in. Okay, so I'm gonna soften that shape with just clean water, so we have a little bit of reflection for that. I'm checking my source to see where the reflection actually drops. Okay, so here and maybe here. There. Alright, we good? Okay. Alright, I think this is good. Seeing as it's almost dry, maybe we can try to scratch out a little bit of highlight here for some of the tree branches here. A little bit of here. And let me scratch here. Again, don't overdo it. Couple areas should do it. Okay. So just a little bit of hints. And you want to do that when it is starting to dry. Okay, so you can actually scratch off the paint. If it's still really wet, you scratch it, the water is gonna flow back, and that's not going to do a lot. Okay, so now is a good time to kind of play with this. 这一次没有哦 Still mostly Daniel Smith. Alright. Okay, so how are we looking? Looking good. Okay, I'm gonna blow dry it again. Try to speed up the process. Okay, we got 35 people here. That's a lot of people. Thank you guys. Okay, I'm going to start to do a second layer of actually the third wash, but the second layer of the tree, and I hope that will be it. Actually, this is not dry enough. I wanted to make it a little bit drier, so give me a moment here. Alright, fun stuff. I don't know, anybody has video problem? I don't see problem on my end, but yeah, if you have problem, definitely let me know. But again, I'm also recording the live stream, so if you have problem on your end, we'll see if we can get you to watch the replay later. But, okay, anyways. So now I'm to mix a darker green. So cobalt turquoise, some blue, see, like really nice and dark green. Okay, we still want to keep it on the warm side though. We don't want anything too dark. Okay, so now is a good time to start to give it a little bit more punches. Okay, so I'm gonna start by going here. Also a small area for testing. Is that for beginner? I am not sure what are you referring to. I'm just painting, so I don't know if this is for beginner or not, but yeah. Anyways. Just paint, I don't know. Try. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Add a little bit of warmth here. Okay, so have a little bit of transition tone here. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a little bit darker greens here. Use my brush to do the work, okay? Don't fuss with it too much. You can do shorter stroke and stuff, but don't start dabbing on it too much. Okay, so I've been trying to learn from Andy Evenson lately. I mean, as much as possible, not exactly painting like him, because he has a very different sensibility than I do. I tend to cut up with detail a little bit more than him, but he's an amazing artist. If you never see his work, be sure to go check it out. He's got some wonderful simplistic painting with great sense of light, and that's something I really admire his work and trying to do that. Okay, so we got some light here and there's a little bit more light here, so I'm going to try to not to make everything dark. I still want some light going here. Okay, so by now you probably see that I'm not following exactly the shape of the tree in the photo. I'm just trying to capture the essence of it. Okay. Dark trees, some light tree in the front. Okay, a little bit darker color here, like darker. Okay, quite dark here. Okay. because this dark here and we have some lighter trees that we can have the lighter tree push in the front, so you see a little bit sense of layering. And I am going to actually add a little bit of warmth here. Okay, some warm color here. Okay, some dark here. Got a little growing tree there. Okay, a little bit of dry brushing. Okay, and I'm gonna keep this part light. Come back to some darker green in here. Let's see it from another angle. Might be a little bit better, a little bit less sheen. Okay, I'm gonna try to force myself not to paint detail by grabbing a bigger brush here. A little bit cooler green here. Okay, so we got like a tree here, so I'll try not to cover everything up. Okay, maybe a little bit warmer. Okay, I want to keep a little bit of the tree branch showing, so it's a big brush to paint detail. It's a very interesting experience. You get to force yourself not to paint the detail, but you try to slow yourself down and paint as delicately as possible. And the result is a very interesting shapes. There we go. All right, back to my smaller 10 Kolinsky brush. Okay. Bedtime for you. Yeah. Again, if you're new here, I apologize. I don't really have. This is my most available time slot here for a live stream, because that's when my kids are asleep, so I can try to take this time and paint, do a live stream for you guys. If I paint during the day, they're playing in the background, they're shouting and yelling, and yeah, it's gonna be really distracting. You guys will not like that. I think I try to paint a little bit too much separated shape, so I'm just going to connect some of this shape there. We can leave a little bit of hard edge here and there, but yeah, I want this to mostly be a nice connection here. Darker shape here, some dark down here, dark down here. Okay, I'm gonna step back and look at this. Okay, this is okay, but I want a little bit more transition here, so I'm gonna lift some of the paint up with a nice damp brush. so you have a little bit more transition going on. Okay. Okay, I need to stop working on the tree very quickly. I think it's starting. I'm starting to overwork this. I can feel it. So, yeah, let me just leave it alone, and let's work on the guy here. Our boat guy. So, okay. So he's wearing a black vest. I'm going to change it to blue, I think. Just so that we can have a little bit more differentiation. Otherwise, if I paint black too, he's not going to pop out. So, give him a blue vest here. Okay. Here, the blue vest. We have that torso going on. Okay. Nice damp brush. I'll just give it a little bit of light here. Alright, and I'm gonna mix his skin tone. So I'll try to keep it a little bit more on the lighter side. Okay. Here's his head. And, his head, his neck, down to his body. His one hand coming up here, another hand is right here. Okay. All right, I think that's good enough. I feel. Okay, a little bit darker down here. I almost forgot how quiet you guys always are when I'm painting. I don't want this whole scene to be too quiet, that's why I'm starting to keep talking. Okay. Let me actually make this side of the face a little bit darker. Just a little bit more red here. This side of the arm, give it a little bit sense of light. Okay, I'm just going to use red straight out, and okay, I'm use really opaque red, so there's going to be a little bit more dry brush mark like this. Okay. I'm just going to make it thick. Before I have this bad habit because I want my paint to flow a little bit better, so I add a little bit of water and saturated color like this starting to become kind of transparent and dull because I use a little bit too much water. So I'm trying to just use thicker paint. Okay, and I'm going to have a little bit of, so there's some bounce light if you look at the front of that boat. Okay, so that tend to happen since water is a surface, it will bounce light. I'm going to try to make it a little bit simpler, so not as much detail when it comes to the lighting and stuff. Okay, now I am going to paint a reflection of the boat here. So here we go. It's almost mirror-like. It's really pretty. Okay, a little bit darker down here. And okay, blue vest. Right. Now I'm painting the guy's reflection. Now it's a reflection, so I'm going to be a little bit looser on that, but still just somewhat representative here, right? Here, we got our reflection here. In Texas too, I'm sorry I am making you losing sleep. Okay, so there is a little bit of disturbance and ripple, so a little bit of that is fine. Okay, now this is dry enough. I think I can go ahead and paint in the, I forgot what is it called. What's the stick thingy that you roll the bow? I forgot. How can I forget? I'm so sorry. Help me out here if you know what I'm talking about. The thing that he's holding to rock the boat. Or, okay, I didn't forget that. I actually just don't know what is it called. Okay, so you can tell I'm definitely not a boat person. All right. Okay. All right. Let's zoom out. Look at that. We got ourselves a guy here, and I think it's a good time for us to just paint a reflection. It will be very exciting. It's probably one of the part that I've been most looking forward to, also most scared to. But again, we'll try to keep it very, very, very simple. Just think of it as a mirror, but a little bit simpler. It's a little bit darker too. So because the reflection of the trees are actually slightly different angle, so it's getting less side of the light here in the reflection. So we can just going to mix a darker green. Going to do a test here, right? So you can tell I'm actually moved the boat. Originally the boat is more in the front, and it's really big. And I want to make it a little bit smaller just to convey the overall scale a little bit better. Okay, a little bit of the test here. Okay, that actually looks not bad. So, all right, I'm just going to use that. And there's some lily pad here. So I think for my sanity, I'm not going to paint a lot of that. However, I think a good way to do just to kind of give a little bit of random highlight here and there. Okay, yeah, make sure I mix plenty of paint here. Okay, and also right, because in the distance in the river here, there's some floating trees and floating plants, leaves, lily pads and stuff. So we don't want to paint everything completely dark. Okay, I'm just going to give this a little bit of gap. I don't want the paint to slip in just yet, and because I'm not sure if the boat is completely dry yet. Okay, Kolinsky brush holds a lot more water. So there we go. Okay. Now this part I do need to mix. Okay. Mix a little bit more. I'm going to just paint that. Okay, underneath here. Now we got ourselves some reflection here. Okay, so in this one, I want to keep the reflection sharp. Like I said, it's almost kind of mirror-like, and I don't want to make it like really soft reflection like how I paint the street sceneries and things like that. So this is how I'm going to paint this. Again, very simple. I don't want to spend too much time and make things too complicated. Just need to get the point across, and we don't have all day here. I mean all night. I assume most of the people watching from the US and North America, it's already very late for the East Coast folks. Don't want to keep you up longer than I needed to. So, okay, paint around the boat a little bit, and now as we move on to the right side, you're gonna start to see the ripples here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and show you guys. Okay, all we really need for this to read is just to starting to give it some sense of ripple back here. Okay, and a little bit of warmer color here, and try to just give it some, not too many, okay, a few like this. Okay, one here, and okay, that's it. Just a little bit of articulation here, and we get ourselves some reflection of the tree rather quickly. Again, I need to mix more color. I am really trying to learn to mix more color. I feel like that's one of my weaknesses. I don't mix enough color, and sometimes my painting turns a little bit too weak, and especially papers like what I'm using today, which is Saunders. It's pretty absorbent, so it gets color fades off quite a bit. Alright, here I'm going to grab a nice damp brush, squeeze out the paint, and get a little bit of light coming down here, and a little bit here too. And mix some warmer color and get that in here. We do want it to reflect some light here, so while it is still wet, I can still kind of do that here. Okay. Now there is some reflection here as well, so I'm going to do that and making it mix a cooler color over. But what I need to be careful is that I push this back, so this is actually quite light. So if I want to do the ripple, the reflection for this, they need to match the value. I don't want to all of a sudden go really dark. That's going to look weird. Okay. Leave a little bit of highlight here. Okay, those are I don't know, sand or whatever it is, rock, something. Let me step back a little bit. You're so welcome, Camille. Yeah, I hope this turns out good. I mean, if if it doesn't turn out good, now it's already too late anyways. I did most of the work already. So okay, so time to fill in some of the white gap here. Okay. Okay, a little bit of cool gray here. And I think we can add a little bit more ripples here. Some harder shape ripple. Watch for the value. Don't make it too dark. Okay, just a little bit, and now I feel like there's more. Okay, mostly blue with a touch of alizarin crimson here. Okay. Okay, I might overdo this. I'm going to merge some of this and soften them. Okay, a little bigger ones. There we go. Okay, we're pretty much done here. By that I mean it's too late to fix anything. You don't really fix anything anyways with watercolor. Do you think I can add some more colors here while I'm still can? Just a little bit hints of other colors here. Okay, I'll spray a little bit of water at a distance, give it a little bit of texture. You know, I actually don't like this being too white. I'm going to just paint over them with just a little bit of green here. It's a little bit risky though. I don't know if it's dry enough to do that. Alright. I think this is as much as we can do. I'm going to use a little bit of white gouache and get some highlight back. If I can actually find my gouache. Here we go. Okay. Like use studio tool. You want to keep it as some sort of collection or? Okay. This tube of gouache is pretty dry. Alright, so I'm going to just get a little bit of highlight back. It's not a lot, a little bit here and over the head, I think, and maybe on the top of the boat, and I think at the side, get a little bit of sparkle back. And I think that's pretty much it. I really don't want to overdo this thing. Okay, I think it's still a little bit moist, so you're getting a little bit of sheen. Let me blow this dry and see if the value changes. Okay, stay pretty much the same. I kind of feel like I want to have a little bit darken under here though. I feel like it's not doing enough to make it pop out. Okay, so I think this should be it. Maybe a little bit warmer part here. I'm feeling some of the light here is a little bit too light. There's some disconnection here, I feel. Okay. Alright. I think this is it. It's beyond what I can do. So here. Alright. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. It's definitely a fun painting and I work quicker, hopefully. And yeah. It's about an hour, so still I feel not fast enough. But again, I never really try to use speed as my goal. I do feel that I want to work just a little bit faster, not because I am working with speed, but I paint less unnecessary detail. And I think that's one of the things I'm really trying to do, just to like my painting. I consider my painting pretty loose already, but I want to make it even more kind of a little bit even more powerful by painting less detail and just get to what's necessary. So yeah, I'm happy with this one actually. I like the background quite a bit. I do believe that some of the tree can be even more simple. I still tend to paint a little bit too much detail here, but overall I think it's nice, like how the water looks as well. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me.